I left the decision making on this month's coffee to our head roaster, Shane. Basically said to him, pick something that you think would be great and we'll go from there. And when I asked him what he'd picked or where the coffee was coming from, he said Brazil. And immediately I was slightly disappointed, if I'm honest. So there's nothing wrong with coffees from Brazil, except I'm probably a little bit stuck in my ways. I'm an East African kind of a person. I love coffees from that part of the continent. You'll often see Rwanda, Kenya, Ethiopia, those kinds of coffees appearing in Roaster's Choice, primarily because they're the kind of coffees that I really enjoy drinking. So when he said Brazil, I thought, it's a little bit disappointing. But no, he was excited by this coffee. He says a lot more to it. It's oak barrel fermented Brazil coffee, and that piqued my interest, something a little bit different. Now, all coffee cherries are fermented as part of the processing. Natural processed coffees are allowed to dry in the sun, so the beans ferment within the cherry itself. Fully washed coffees, they're fermented in water. This fermentation process adds character and helps develop the flavour in the coffee. But increasingly, processing mills are playing around with that fermentation and doing something a little bit different. And at Fazenda Vila Boa in Brazil, they're doing exactly that. They're taking oak barrels, they're placing the coffee cherries in them with a distilled and fermented sugarcane spirit. And they stay in there for about 72 hours before they're dried for about 5 to 7 days in the sun afterwards. So kind of ramping up that fermentation and using kind of additional products to help develop that fermentation. So it's different. I've never come across anything like this before. So what has it given us in the cup? And the first thing that strikes you is a bit of a sharper acidity than I expect from a Brazil. We've gone for kind of a grapefruit acidity. It's got a bit of a bite at the front end. It's not it's not too much, but it's definitely a kind of a sharpness you associate with grapefruit. But the mid-range is more fruit-like, kind of like a cherry tone in that mid-range flavour, and this lovely lingering honey sweetness at the end. It's a really interesting coffee. It's not what I expect from a Brazil, and that's probably because of this fermentation that's taking place. So I've learned two things from this. First of all, is not to judge my head roaster until I've heard the full story behind his choice. And secondly, that I prefer Brazil coffees more than I thought I did. Hope you enjoyed this one. Love to hear your thoughts and comments. In the meantime, have a great day.